Good evening and welcome to another show. And today I'm going to talk about something very personal to me and something that's resonated very, very much around my social media. So currently I have in the region of about 35,000 social media followers. And one of the things that I've always prided myself on is being authentic and telling it like it is, walking the walk. So I wanted to talk to you about an issue that's really close to my heart and something that I've been achieving and having great success with. And that is quitting alcohol. It's a huge issue in our community. On this morning's show, Johal mentioned it, that she does mentoring in enabling people to quit alcohol. And it's something that I had a lot of problems with for many, many years. So in our Punjabi community, there's huge issues around the consumption of alcohol, especially by men and lately by women. So it's something that's brushed under the carpet, very much so. And recently I took part in a webinar over a weekend. And again, very controversial, very different views. So the typical view from a religious point of view is obviously alcohol is banned, and the Gurdwara's view is very much that you should take Amrit and become a Gursikh, and that way obviously Gursikhs don't take alcohol, and therefore that will solve the issue. But of course that doesn't always solve the issue, and it drives it underground. So we're gonna have a phone in today, so I would like you to phone in with your views, issues that you may be having and what can be done about them. So, kills about 3.5 million people across the world. And during the pandemic, alcohol consumption has risen sharply by as much as 40% in this country whilst people have been home. And domestic violence as a result of that has risen. And I believe over 200 women have been killed since the beginning of the pandemic in domestic violence. And not all, but large parts of that are driven by the fact that alcohol is involved. Alcohol is involved in 70% of attempted suicides in this country. So it has a huge impact. So I recently put a post out on social media, and it was 1,000 days that I had quit alcohol. So there's the picture, that's the post and the picture that went out. And it was seen and commented on by over 1 million people around the world. So that led me to believe that it's a huge issue. And in the Punjab, it's a huge issue. And how do we get here? So, our community, in terms of a lot of our songs, are glorify alcohol. We celebrate with it. We commiserate with it. So it seems that no gathering is complete without it. And sorrows are drowned in it. Babies' heads are wetted with it. We give people a good send-off. And so there is no occasion that's not complete without it. I don't condone it. And those of us that handle alcohol very, very well, and the vast majority do drink responsibly, that's fine. But there are lots of people in our community that don't, and in other communities. It's not something that is confined to us. But the Sikh community is very well known, especially at our weddings, to be very generous, shall we say, with pourings of alcohol. So the telephone number's on the screen: 0121 289 5000 if you want to take part and share your views with me. So as I said, we've had lots and lots of discussion around this subject, and so I'm now coming up to 3 years since I decided that it wasn't something that I wanted to do, and certainly my life has improved to a great degree since making that decision. And I don't think today I would be here in front of you presenting this show if I hadn't decided on the 21st of July 2018 that I wanted to end my relationship with it. So whilst we're waiting for you to make calls, and I understand how difficult this subject is, but if you're a man that's having difficulty in alcohol, I don't need to have your name, but I'd like to share your journey, and I'd like you to share that journey with our viewers as to what you go through, what the issues are. if you are a family member of somebody that's having issues, then I'd like to hear from you. What you go through on a daily basis or a weekly basis, what happens and what's happening to you. So, as I said, not an easy subject, but one that we're having issues with, and I'm not afraid to address any of those kind of things. So, I'll tell you about my journey, and began very, very well, no issues whatsoever for the vast majority of the time. You know, had a great time, enjoyed myself, never needed it for confidence, but the relationship changes. So it's like an old friend that, you know, when you get to know, is very, very great. We had a great time, but probably for the last 5 to 6 years, I really didn't enjoy it. So although I partook in it, and those of you that know me, you know, I was the life and soul of the party. But that's generally what you hear from people that drink to excess, that they are the life and soul of the party, they're larger than life characters. They can generally, you know, handle their drink. And a lot of people don't really know that they're having issues. And the immediate family knows, of course. So I spent time with a couple of gentlemen last week who shall remain nameless. And one of them had an issue where he had a wet brain as a result of alcoholism. And that caused him to regress down to what would be a 4 or a 5-year-old child. And he had an international business, you know, flew throughout the world, to America, to the Far East, to China, traveling for his business, multi-million pounds. And unfortunately, as a result of excessive consumption of alcohol, he lost everything. He regressed down to, as I said, a 4 or 5-year-old, and doctors thought that he would never ever recover from that situation. I think the problem was known as a wet brain, and which basically means that he appears to be drunk all the time, so he would be slurring and his motor functions were non-existent. So, and he now helps people to recover from, you know, the same situation, and luckily and very fortunately, he has recovered all of his functions, but not without lots of help and lots of support from his family, which isn't always there. So unfortunately, as a result of that habit, he's lost most of his family, lost the support of his wife and his children. And, you know, life is to him a situation whereby he now helps others. And his business partner, same situation, not quite as drastic, you know, and the cost of this thing is absolutely phenomenal to friends and family. Financial terms, you can't even begin to count the cost. So we've had Mike Lancaster on the show, who I interviewed a few months back, had huge issues with alcoholism. You know, my friend Paul Tinker, who gave up alcohol about 2 months after myself, so recently posted 950 days without consuming that stuff. Again, life transformed from where he used to be in terms of what he did on a daily basis and what he does today, which is a very, very successful coaching business. So, you know, if you're brave enough, come and talk to me about this today and how we can go forward. Of course, it's a huge problem in the Punjab. 1 in 4 of our young men are considered to be drug or alcohol dependent. And that's a very, very sad state of affairs to be. And what's to be done about it? Well, we've got to start talking about these issues, and we've got to start bringing them to the fore. So without discussing it, then we just brushing the problem under the carpet. So there's people like Jazz Rai from Derby who are doing great work in helping our community. So Jazz comes from a slightly different situation to myself, that he went to Alcoholics Anonymous, which is an organization that started in 1935, helped people across the world to quit alcohol with attending regular meetings with like-minded individuals, and you can share your stories there. So if you found success with the AA, I'd love to hear from you. I didn't choose that route. It wasn't something for me, because one of the things that the AA does is talks about the fact that you're an alcoholic, you have to admit it, and when you actually stop, you remain a recovering alcoholic for the rest of your days. Now, that wasn't something that was going to work for me, because I want to have a solution to a problem, and once that problem has been solved, that's it, it's done, right? We don't want to be dealing with it any longer. So this idea of that I'm recovering from something for the rest of my life didn't really appeal to me. So how did I go about doing what I did? I sat down one day and wrote out everything that would happen in my life if I continued down the path of what I was doing, or if I decided that I wanted to change this major thing in my life. Because one thing I noticed was that when I was drinking alcohol, there was lots of other things that I wanted to do that I didn't do. I didn't get to the gym all the time that I wanted to. My diet wasn't as good. My meetings overran, and I wasn't as productive or as focused as I really wanted to be. And I was aware of that because there was times when I didn't drink at all. Months would go by sometimes, and then I'd come back and go back to it. So, I knew what the differences were, so I could actually sit down and talk about those and talk about them to myself. Because families are very often quite fed up of this situation, whether they are vocal about it or not. So if your family is not saying anything to you, it's not because they are not disapproving of this habit. So don't be fooled into that, because I sometimes was, and that's a big mistake that we shouldn't be making. So I sat down on or around the 18th of July in 2018 and wrote down basically what my life would look like if I continued, and what my life would look like if I abstained. And you could do that for anything, any bad habit that you've got, whether it's smoking, overeating. In my case, it was overconsumption of alcohol. So I wrote down all the things that would happen over the next 5 years if I continued. And those things I made a little bit worse than I thought they would be, because I wanted a picture that was slightly harsher than I could imagined it to be. So the glass half empty is a phrase that comes to mind. On the other side, I made things a little bit brighter than perhaps I thought they were going to be if I decided to quit. And I definitely knew that the harder route was to say no. And any change that we want to make, and again, Karen Johal was talking about weight loss this morning, so she's currently on a challenge to lose a stone in weight in 21 days. And when somebody makes that decision, that's the easy part. Sticking with it is the hard part. So what happened after July the 21st was that quit cold turkey. So I was in a meeting in London on a Saturday afternoon at 5 p.m. and that was that. And I was done. And what followed after that, and if you are having issues, and I know you don't want to come forward today, and I understand that, and I get that. And so if there's no phone calls, it's because it's a difficult subject. But I know you're listening, and I know you're watching, and I hope that this program and this show actually gives you something to go home with and think about the consequences of your behavior. So the after effects or the withdrawal symptoms only last for a matter of days. So 4 or 5 days is all that it takes to detox. And indeed it was the same. So I'm a reader, so I read an awful lot about what would happen, and I knew really what to expect. So as I said, the decision to quit is the easy part, staying quit is the hard part. So I knew that that would be a battle for me. And the battle was, that it's physical for the first 3, 4, 5 days. That's all it is. Then after that, it becomes a battle of the mind. So it's a habit that you've been doing. So it's a chemical situation whereby your body's been used to receiving a poisonous substance, because that's what it is. And your body then is used to that. So your brain knows that it's coming and it's prepared. And when it's not coming, it kind of gets confused. So what happened was that within a couple of days, as I said, I was over it, and then it became a battle. And what I really wanted to do was wanted to get it out of my body, because once you made a decision that this thing is finished, then you want to get rid of it, and I certainly did. So I couldn't get rid of it fast enough. So after the first week or so, One of the things that happens in any of these situations is that you generally are malnourished. And that's what you'll find. A lot of people that smoke and a lot of people that drink alcohol either don't eat very well or they eat the wrong types of food. So, and then of course, with these chemicals in your body, it's difficult for nutrients to be broken down. And so it was the case. So I started taking a lot of supplements. Again, I'd read about these. It's commonly found. There's no rocket science to it. The usual stuff is what you will need. And I continued those for a number of months. And about 4 or 5 months into my journey, what started happening was that my cognitive thinking, and again, it's been something that's well documented, was difficult. So I started doing stupid little things that I'd never done before. I got a lot of traffic offences, parking tickets, bus lane infringements, and things that I don't actually do. But what was happening was that my brain was rewiring back to normality, because it had been an amount of time, 5, 6, 7 months into my journey, that I had completed. And so the brain starts rewiring back to where it should have been in the first place without any substances in your body. And so I read. And if anybody disagrees, then please call me and we can have a conversation about that. So that was the first 5 or 6 months of my journey. And so on completing a year, it was a big celebration and a big change. So year 1 went by without any events. Year 2 went by, and now I'm closing in on 3 years. And what has happened during those 3 years? So let me share that with you also. So I certainly wouldn't be sitting in front of you here today. That would not be happening. And to say that I've been more productive, that I feel better, and I'm much more focused in the things that I want to do is an understatement. So what's actually transpired today is I think I've lost about 10 kilos in weight, which was absolutely fantastic. The other thing that alcohol does is it bloats your body. And so naturally the weight that you are actually looks far bigger. It ages you, and it puts a lot of strain on your organs, so particularly your liver. So a year after quitting, my liver was absolutely as new. Not that I hadn't done much damage. And one of the decisions was that quit whilst you're ahead. So I have been witness to too many friends, personal friends, who've lost their lives. And since quitting, I've learned of more people, and especially a couple of ladies that are dear friends of mine now, having lost very, very close family members. And that is really sad, that something that can be prevented, something that is enjoyed by so many people very safely, can be such a devastating habit for these men to have. I've come across ladies that are drinking excessively and are suffering from the same problems that men, because the one thing that it doesn't do is it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care, right? So young, small, rich, poor, woman, man, white, black, Asian, whatever it is, it doesn't really care. And so the other thing is that there are more people suffering than want to admit. So one of the things that really helped me was actually acknowledging. So if I had too much, I was quite happily say, yes, I did. And again, it's sending a signal to your brain to say that, we've done this. So I don't quite understand why you are so shy today, why you don't want to be forthcoming, but I'd like you to be. This is an issue that's huge in our community, and I know it's huge from all the webinars that I get invited to, all the seminars that are going on, and all the self-help groups that are going on. There's not enough resources out there in this country to help people. And so, here we are, and I'm putting it out there today, and I have done in the past. It's not something that I hide. I write about it regularly. There's a number of articles that I've written about the benefits and my journey, because the more of us that come out, so, those of you that have quit, give me a call. Let's share your story. Let's get it out there. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's a fact of life. And, it's hypocrisy to pretend that it doesn't exist. And that's what it is. And it doesn't help us. It doesn't help those of us that have lost loved ones. It doesn't help those of us that have lost relationships, that have lost businesses, that have lost families, that are losing our health. So this is a topic that I really have wanted to bring forward to you for a little while now. And today has presented the perfect opportunity for me to do so. So no guest here today, just you and I. And as I said, if you're too shy to phone in, or don't want to let me know who you are, I'm quite happy for you not to give me your name. So 0121 289 5000 is the phone number for the studio. But again, like I said, I totally understand if today you don't want to be telling the world what you're doing, but it's not so bad, So those of us that are going through this journey, what I can say to you is that the people that criticized the most or criticize the most today are those that have the biggest problem. And that's a fact. And the other thing is that those that have criticized the most are the ones that congratulate me the most today. And it's perhaps ironic because I think they feel that it's not something that they can achieve. And again, the reason for bringing this subject to the fore is to say that I'm an ordinary individual. There's nothing special about me. And I don't do anything that's spectacular. I'm a normal human being, right? I live and breathe on this earth. And it's something that if I can achieve it, anybody can do it. Absolutely anybody. But you have to have the desire. So typical of what happens now is that people reach out. And so this morning we had ladies phoning up the studio saying that my husband is having issues with alcohol, that my brother is having issues with alcohol, that my dad is having issues with alcohol. And, what can we do about it? I believe we have a caller on the line. Hello?
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 Hello there.
Well, can I speak to Johal, please?
Speaking, sir.
Hello, I was listening to you on television.
Yes.
What's happened? Since just over 7 months, I've stopped drinking.
Yes.
In between that, I have slipped once.
Okay. How long have you been sober?
Since the beginning of September.
Okay. And did you say you slipped up once?
Yeah.
Do you want to give me your name?
No.
Okay, that's fine. No problem.
Because I can give you my name, but I don't want to be pronounced on television. That's
Well, you're live on TV, so you don't have to. That's absolutely fine. First of all, congratulations.
Yeah.
For making that decision. Why did you decide to quit?
Well, because my health-wise, I wasn't very good and all that, and I was having a problem, this and that. My family never said nothing to me, they just said to me, you want to slow down. That's all they said. They never, my wife or my children, they never said nothing to me, give up drinking and all that. But I just decided myself, the life's drinking's taking me nowhere.
Yes.
So I want to give up. So I slipped once, how did you do it? Did somebody force you to have a drink and drink, and you had a drink, and that's what happened to me.
So somebody forced you, did they?
Yeah, they said, have a drink, just have one, and ended up having 4 or 5.
Well, listen, I think one of the things that I can tell you about is one of my biggest challenges was when I was thinking about giving up, those people around me who, these people love you, they care for you very dearly, and they don't know the problems that you're going through.
Yeah.
So, and it's natural in our communities, jalkalo bhaji, let's have a glassy, all that kind of thing, right?
I think that's me.
Yeah, and that's what happens. So the thing is this, that's absolutely fine. So you slipped up once. When was that?
A couple of weeks ago.
Okay, and then you haven't drunk since?
No.
Okay. And do you think that was a one-off, or is it something that may happen again?
Well, that's what I want to ask you. How can I stop it happening again?
Okay. You're in charge of your life.
That's right, yeah.
Nobody else is.
Mm-hmm.
The people that are asking you to drink do not realize how big a problem it is for you.
It's no problem. The problem is that in the long run, like later in life, I will struggle because it'll affect my life,
Yes.
my health and everything.
Exactly.
Brain,
So you
because it takes your thinking of brain away, vitamin B, and all that takes everything away from you.
that's right. It strips
liver,
the
kidney,
nutrients out of your body.
It affects every part of your body.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So as I was saying earlier, most people who drink alcohol to any degree are malnourished. And so, like I said, it strips. So the way you've got to make a decision that this is my life.
Yeah. I made the decision that I don't want to drink anymore.
Right.
But I've not slept once only.
So, well, listen, we can all do that. That's not a crime, and it can happen, right? So my advice to you is that, number one, is if you feel that you could slip up again, so there's two things that you shouldn't do. You shouldn't put yourself in the environment, in the place, and you shouldn't put yourself with those people.
All right.
Right? So if you spend they say, go to sleep with dogs, you wake up with fleas, right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So when I first decided that I was going to abstain, I did keep away from certain individuals and certain places.
Yeah.
Right? Because really it's something that's new and you want to protect it. Right? So the way to protect it is, so two things that affect us is our environment of where we are and who we're with. Okay?
Yeah.
So do not spend time with people that do not respect you and your decision to quit. They're not your friends.
That's right. Yeah, that's something. I should not hang around with people who's going to force me to drink. That's no good.
Well, remember, nobody can force you. You have the power to say no.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay?
You're right there. Yeah.
You cannot be forced to drink. Right? I've traveled all over the world since I gave up alcohol.
Yeah.
I've been to places. So one of the places that I've visited a lot is Dubai. And so I had the best holiday that I've ever had in the same hotel, in the same bars as I've had for the last 20 years, completely sober in 2019.
Yeah.
So, and there was a little bit of anxiety around going there because my association was, you're on holiday and, you obviously drink a lot more.
You're on holiday, go for it.
Right? Yeah. But you know what? It was the most fabulous holiday it was the best holiday I've ever had there. So what you've got to start associating yourself with is all the positives. So how's life changed for you since last September?
A lot better.
Yes.
I feel better, my health is better, I feel happier.
Do you feel more relaxed?
More relaxed and happy.
Good. So do you want to carry on
Only
feeling?
time then I drink, and I wasn't happy for a couple of days, and I said to myself, what did I do it? It's not good for me. It's not good for my health. It's not good for me in the future of my life.
Beautiful, beautiful. So is that something
I was upset with myself for nearly 3-4 days.
Yes, of course you were. So is that something worth protecting?
Worth protecting, yes. It's worth protecting my life.
Yes.
My health.
So protect it. Put a shield around it. Put your armour on. And when people that are asking you to, just tell them, just be honest and say, listen, I'm afraid that my health is going to suffer. I've not had a drink for such and such time. I'm really trying to abstain. So I'd rather that you didn't offer me a drink. And see what they say.
Yeah, you're right there. Actually, since I gave up drinking, my blood pressure and everything, I'm perfect. I'm normal. Nothing wrong with me.
In 2019, I went to a wedding and I met somebody that basically said, you know what, Cam, you used to be the life and soul of the party. I've heard you no longer drink.
Same with me. So people used to tell me that. So since I gave up drinking, my old friends used to drink. They don't talk to me because I don't buy them drinks.
Well, they're not your real friends, are they? Right? So I said, listen, I don't need alcohol to speak to you. We'll be absolutely fantastic. We're going to have a great time. And 3 hours later, he's now a little bit drunk and he said, can you tell me how you've given up alcohol? Because I've tried over 20 times. The people that are criticizing you, the people that are trying to get you to drink, are the ones that are having the biggest problems with it.
All right.
And the people that are criticizing you the most, the people that have the most problems with it today, once you've been sober for 18 months, a year, when they meet you, they'll congratulate you. These will be your biggest supporters.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
You've got something to protect. It's like a baby. Okay? Sobriety, when you first start, the first year or so is like having a newborn baby. You need to protect it. Okay?
Yeah.
If you're afraid that you may take a drink, remind yourself of why you gave up in the first place.
Yeah. All right.
Okay? Think back to everything that's wrong and can go wrong. About your health, about your blood pressure, about your personal happiness.
With the personal happiness, I'm more happy because, like, you know, I can think straight. I'm like, you know, my brain's working perfectly proper.
Can I ask, on average, how many drinks did you used to have?
Don't ask.
No, tell us, please share it with us, because this is, we want to learn from your experience.
Sometimes I start with one kind of beer, then I didn't like much of beer, then I used to go on whiskey or vodka, drink a bottle and a half, 2 bottles, something like that.
A bottle or 2 bottles of vodka?
Or whiskey.
Every night?
About 3, 4, 5 times a week.
Wow. Wow. You've done so well.
And eating lot of wrong foods as well.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? That, as I was saying earlier, that the problem with drinking alcohol or drinking alcohol in excess is that your diet goes as well.
Yeah, that's it. Goes everywhere. Nothing is perfect. Everything goes all over the place then.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, if you need some help in terms of you want to have a conversation, I'm not qualified to do any of this, but you know, if you need to have a conversation, then by all means contact me.
Yeah.
And I'll be happy to speak to you in private if you wish to do so.
Yeah, okay.
Right? I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram. So if you want to reach out to me on any of those mediums, please do.
I'm not very good at using all these things like, you know, Facebook's not. I'm not good at it.
Okay. Well, you just don't use them. You would be very good at it, I'm sure, if you did.
Yeah.
But you have the studio's phone number?
Pardon?
I said you have the studio's phone number?
I've got studio phone number, yeah.
0121?
289 5000.
That's it. Yeah. So I'm here all day on a Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to speak to you, and they'll give you my mobile number if you desire it.
Okay, I will do that, yes.
Anything that you'd like to add?
No, that's all I want to know. How did you give it up? That's what I want to know.
Just like that. Right?
Because I don't want to get involved with that thing anymore.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm a lot happier now than what I was before.
Yeah. So the decision that you've made to give up, that's already been made. Now, all you have to do is stay quit. You don't have to do anything. The thing about not drinking alcohol is you actually don't have to do anything. It's something that you no longer put in your mouth.
All right.
Okay?
If I need any help, I'll give you a ring, like, no, and on Thursday you're there all day, I'll give you a ring and I can always talk to you, yeah?
No problem. You're most welcome.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, there you have it. So, one brave gentleman, 2-3 bottles of vodka or whiskey per week, quit since September. One slip up, no big deal, 3 or 4 weeks ago. So, you know, it's been 6-7 months now. And what's happening is that his brain is now rewiring itself, and cognitive thinking may be suffering a little bit. So if you're still on listening, that may be something that you're suffering from right now, and that will pass. So they say that the brain continues to improve of those that have been affected, right, for up to 5 years. So we don't know the real long-term effects, because it's only over the last 20, 30 years that alcohol's been something that people drink on a regular daily basis in large numbers. So alcoholics have always been here throughout history. Alcoholics Anonymous is about 100 years old. I believe it was started in 1935. So it's always been an issue to human beings. But the fact is that what used to happen is it used to be something that people did on a Friday and a Saturday night. Then the pubs started opening all day, every day. And of course, people started working weekends, etc. That standard Monday to Friday work week in factories and offices ended. We had a 24-hour world, so we have 24-hour bars. So now alcohol is consumed much more openly. And so the other thing is, of course, is that alcohol is consumed in much larger measures. So if you go and have wine, we used to have 125 mils, and now standard glass is 250. So we have another caller on the line, so let's take that call. Hello?
ਹੈਲੋ ਮੈਂ ਜੋਗਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਬੋਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਜੀ
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੋਗਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਟੈਲੀਵਿਜ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਲਾਈਵ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ
Yeah, we're live now. Can you speak in English, Jogindar Singh ji?
Yes, I can speak English, yes.
Okay, great. So we're talking about alcohol today, so what have you got to add for
us? Yes. Yes. Hello?
Hello, we're receiving you loud and clear.
Okay. All I want to ask you is the call program going on, which is very nice. Some people overdrink. You just heard about it.
Yes.
Which is good news for it. Good news for a quick like that.
Mm-hmm.
But there is afterwards there's a problem with the health. We have to have mind control, like you know.
Yes.
Understand that.
Can I ask Jogindar Singh, do you drink?
I do drink, yes.
Okay. And is it a problem to you, or are you somebody that manages it as a social drinker?
No, I do drink it, but all I want to know, sometimes we come across, even doctor told us you can have a moderate drink.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
That's absolute rubbish.
Right. But
there's no scientific benefits to any amount of alcohol in your body.
Okay, so you won't recommend it at all?
I'm not a qualified doctor, but all the rubbish they talk about in terms of red wine,
yeah,
you can get everything from red grapes that you get in red wine.
Yeah.
Okay, as far as health benefits are concerned, there are zero health benefits.
From the drink?
Yes.
I understand that.
Yes.
Okay.
I understand what you're saying. Sometimes people say, oh, I drink to relax, and of course it relaxes you a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? But the problem is not drinking responsibly. The problem is drinking irresponsibly.
Yes, I understand it.
So if you're a social drinker, you enjoy a glass of wine or a beer every now and then, nothing wrong with it. The government says 14 units for men and 14 units for women.
What's the unit? Is it something from the milligrams or whatever?
Yeah, so a unit of alcohol is I believe half a pint of standard beer.
Yeah.
Not premium beer. So a pint of beer is 2 units of alcohol.
Okay, 2 units. Yeah.
Okay.
So what was the whiskey?
I'm not 100% sure on what a unit of whiskey is. So standard measure is 25 mils.
Yeah,
The problem with things like whiskey and vodka is the measure that we pour at home.
Yeah.
So that is not 50 mils. So a double in a pub is 50 mils.
Yeah.
Which, if you ever go to a pub, and I've frequented many in my time, a double whiskey or a double vodka isn't a lot of alcohol when compared with what we pour at home.
I got you, man. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, at home you can always put extra.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We certainly do.
Yeah.
And the larger the glasses that we pour, the larger the measures. It will be written on the back of the bottle of whiskey or whatever alcohol it is, how many units of alcohol that contains.
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
Yes, definitely. But look, if you're drunk, if you enjoy the odd drink here and now, no problem at all.
Yeah, I'm not a heavy drinker.
Okay.
But I do have sometimes when you pour at home, like get slightly more than that.
Sure. Well, look, if you feel the next day you're overdoing it, then you need to cut back. And if you're drinking more than 14 units of alcohol, and by the way, you can't drink all of your 14 units in one night.
No. No.
Okay, so
No.
you can't say, listen, I only drink twice a week, so I'm going to drink 7 units on a Friday and 7 units on a Saturday. You can't bank them because your body can't burn them.
Yeah. What about if I keep in control? What about the regularity? If I stop in one day, I lose the sleep.
Sorry?
If I'm a regular,
Yeah.
what you're saying, like, small drinks.
Yes.
If I don't drink next day,
Yes.
it shouldn't make no difference, but I do lose the sleep.
You lose sleep?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, some people say that it helps them sleep. I can certainly tell you that the quality of your sleep is poorer. You wake up more often.
Yeah, that's right. Then.
Yeah, when you've had a drink.
But I have a regular drink, like, it at least has 2-3 hours, whatever we got, it can continuously.
Yes, yeah. Well, look, everybody's different. And it doesn't sound to me like you have any kind of problem whatsoever if you're enjoying your alcohol.
Yeah.
And, and long may it continue.
What about the beer? Does it affect on your stomach, like constipation?
And listen, everybody's affected differently, and I'm not 100% sure. It's not really something that we want to be tackling today, as to which drinks affect you how. Every alcoholic drink has units of alcohol in it.
No, does it help have a relaxation or the constipation if I stop that?
There's no medical benefits of alcohol.
Okay.
Okay.
Even a beer.
Yeah.
Even a beer.
Even beer, there's no benefits to beer.
Well, it's a bit confused, but I do feel like if milk is not very good sometimes.
Yeah.
It depends on the water then.
Yeah.
End of the day.
Let's bring this call to an end. Thank you very much for calling in today. That was really useful. Jiginder Singh. So didn't really want to talk about constipation, etc. Two very varying callers. Somebody that's given up alcohol. So appreciate that. Very brave to come and talk about this subject. And I want us to discuss it. If you want to discuss it in private, I'm happy to be able to speak to you at some point. Reach out to me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. And I'm usually in the studios after my breakfast show on a Thursday. So I'm happy to speak to you. The telephone number's on the screen. If we can help anybody. I've also got a number of people that are associated, not from a business point of view. So I take no remuneration whatsoever referring anybody. I don't charge, and it's not a professional coaching practice that I do. So I want to make that clear as full disclosure. But there are a number of people that I do know that I could possibly help you to refer to if you have a drinking issue. There's also locally in Handsworth near the studio a group of people that meets who are the victims of those that abuse alcohol. So, if you're a family member of somebody that's drinking too much, you certainly can go along there and get some help. And I've got a contact with the two gentlemen that I was talking to you about. So they have now become dear friends. They offer private alcohol intervention where they have a 100% track record of stopping people from drinking. That's not a service that's free, so it is chargeable. But if you have a relative that you feel could benefit from that, again, it's something that I can help with as a gesture of goodwill, and purely that and nothing more. So their results, etc., whatever you experience will be up to you. It's nothing that I'm associated with or affiliated to. So we're coming to the end of this program. It's been interesting for me in terms of sharing with you my journey, because there have been times since last September when I have made reference to this, and I have received very, very supportive telephone calls, basically saying that, we're really shocked and surprised that somebody like you would have an issue. So what I want to say to you is that it doesn't care, right? It simply doesn't care. Man, woman, educated, smart, not smart, factory worker, office worker, it doesn't care, right? Anybody can be affected. What I read is there's about 10% of us who have a more of an addictive gene in our bodies, and we can be addicted. And I have a very, very addictive personality. So the thing is to channel it to being addicted to good things. So, which is like serving you guys and coming here on a weekly basis and presenting my show. So I'm totally addicted to the support that I get. And I'm sure that those of you that know me share my journey and share my pain and share my joys. And those of you that don't know me, I hope you've got a little window into life for almost the last 3 years. And if you sat there quietly on your sofas today saying, oh my God, you know, what the hell am I going to do if I quit? Well, look at me, right? I've been more successful. I'm closer to my family. I'm healthier today. And the things that I've achieved in the last 2.5 or 2 3/4 years, I could not have achieved if I was still doing that. Because we all have the same amount of time in our lives. So if we're going to spend it in 2 ways, in sitting down and drinking every evening or every other evening, drinking in the pub, spending weekends in the pub, or nursing a hangover the next day, that's time that you're not productive. That's a time that you're not working on yourself, not working on your career, not working on your family, not working on your health. So that is something that is the great equalizer. 168 hours is everything that we have every week. And how you choose to use it is totally up to you. So as the first caller said, you know, what do I do to stay sober? You know, 2 people forced me to drink. Nobody forces you, right? I have sat with people at parties and they have been drinking and thinking that I'm doing the same. And sometimes I've just not said anything because, you know what, it's just not worth it. So I pour myself a Coke and they can't even see the fact that I'm not drinking any alcohol because they don't really care. So what they're looking for actually is company. So when we start talking about, you know, we're brothers and all that nonsense, it's nothing like that. You know, they have their own journey, they have their own issues, leave them to it. And, you know, I had my own. And, you know, and that was my journey at that time. This is my journey now. You are allowed to change. And, you know, it may look hard today, but I can truly say to you that I can never imagine an occasion where I would take an alcoholic drink. Not because I'm forcing myself to stay quit, that every day I want it and there's a yearning for it. There's no yearning whatsoever. You know, I can't think of anything worse than having an alcoholic drink today. I drink alcohol-free beer. I drink alcohol-free gin. And so when I'm out at functions, that's what I do. So I'm not sitting there like a child drinking Coke or lemonade. And the other thing is that I'd like to congratulate some of my relatives. You know who you are. Those of you that prior to COVID that actually went out and shopped for alcohol-free beer when we were coming around for dinner. And I congratulate you and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking into account that is something that I don't do. So that's the end of a show. We will see you next week on the Johal show, where I will have a guest, my dear friend Vinay Palmer, who'll be sharing his story. And I'll see you on the breakfast show next Thursday. Take care and good night.